They're as fresh as the breeze.
Eggs come to you fresh every day.
Serve them any way you please.
Eggs are natural and economical, so keep enough on hand.
Nature made them nice and neat.
High in protein and only 80 calories each. Eggs are a natural wonder. For meals, snacks, appetizers, whatever.
All you do is heat and eat.
Eggs don't run out.
The incredible edible egg.
So, when do egg prices drop? This is the Capital Dispatch podcast.
Yeah, man, eggs are still expensive. On average, the cost of the egg isn't incredible. And if it doesn't come down, it sure won't matter that the egg is edible. Newsweek reported recently that egg prices on average in the United States have jumped to over $4, and in some cases, $8. Now imagine how much it would have cost today to remake that old ad from the 80s, "This is your brain on drugs." The amount of production assistance that would have been let go that day. We used to be a proper country. It's a damn shame. But seriously, eggs are so expensive that not only are some grocers limiting how many cartons of eggs consumers are able to buy, but also these high prices played an instrumental role in coercing America to elect, well, you know who.
A vote for Trump means your groceries will be cheaper.
Damn, he lied. Can't believe it. Now, listen, I'm not gonna play the mess around and find out game that everybody's been doing on TikTok and Instagram, but listen, a lot of us did not vote for this, and now we're having to deal with the rapid growth of a problem that we just wanted fixed. So rather than taking the road most often traveled and pointing out the obvious that the Robin to Elon Musk's Batman is a con artist, instead, today, let's talk about price gouging, who it hurts, and why this current administration is so hell-bent on advancing policies that will lead to higher prices. But first, fam, listen, we tried to tell you, listen, I don't know a lot about the economy, and I'm not about to sit here and act like I'm an expert on the economy or economic policy, but God, y'all really thought starting a trade war with other countries and then kicking out immigrants was gonna make your eggs cost less? And in part because of that, now I have to pay twice as much. And not only that, some of his supporters think us who don't support him are now supposed to care that they want to leave MAGA, this leaving MAGA movement that's taking place on TikTok. Listen, I don't even like Stephen A. Smith, but this is how I feel about the MAGA buyer's remorse.
I'm here to tell you right now, we don't care.
Let me tell you something.
We don't care.
Okay, now let's talk about price gouging. According to findlaw.com, price gouging is generally based on average prices in an area before an emergency. A look-back period, such as 30 days, measures how high prices rose during that emergency. Price increases of 10 to 15% often count as excessive price hikes. And as far as who it hurts, well, you already know that.
Just spent $33 on dinner tonight. I'm literally just making like lasagna soup.
What are you talking about? Was $8.25 now $6.89? Like this is some amazing deal.
For 4 chicken breasts, $10 to $11.
Inflation has steadily cooled over the past 2 years, despite seeing a slight stall in October and November of 2024. Prices for items like gasoline, used cars, and energy have declined accordingly. But food prices continue to outpace inflation, increasing by 28% since 2019.
And much like that report cited, after inflation had cooled down, prices on food were still going up, creating the perfect scenario for a career grifter to work his magic on the American people. According to a Capital Dispatch article, the man who has a really odd obsession with one of his daughters, if you know, you know, said prices will come down, you just watch. They'll come down, and they'll come down fast. Not only with insurance, with everything. When I win, I will immediately bring prices down, starting on day one. Anytime I read anything that guy says, I feel like my IQ dropped a couple points, so I'm not reading anything he says anymore. But honestly, I don't even need to. Let's just go back to that sound I played earlier in the show.
It'll also bring your grocery bill way down. I have more complaints on grocery. The word grocery, it's sort of simple word, but it sort of means like everything you eat. The stomach is speaking. It always does. And I have more complaints about that bacon and things going up, double, triple, quadruple. I haven't seen Cheerios in a long time. I'm going to take them back with me. Bacon is through the roof. They're all through the roof. The milk, everything is bad. And we're going to straighten it out. We're going to bring prices way down, and we'll get it done fast.
Now, Trump tells Time magazine that while he wants to make groceries cheaper, it's, quote, hard to bring things down once they're up.
So he can't make it better. Fine. But he's not going to make it worse, right?
And you've got inflation back here at 3%. That's not the 2% target the Fed would like to see. But prices rose a lot for eggs, 15.2% from December to January. That's the largest increase since June of 2015. Our NBC local team in LA is reporting that some Californians are actually turning to local farms to get eggs. Look at this long line of cars in Chino. They're snaking around the block just to try to find some eggs.
I think this is a reminder of how different the economy that he inherited this time is from the economy he inherited 8 years ago when inflation was very low, and it made it easier to push for lower interest rates. It made it easier to do things like imposing tariffs that push up the price of imported goods. This time around, we're talking about more tariffs. We're talking about larger tariff hikes, and you're doing it in an economy that has higher inflation and where businesses have the experience of being able to push along price increases to their customers that they did not have 8 years ago.
All right, he's going to make it worse. He can, and he's going to make it worse. And the thing that's frustrating is that there are definitely other factors that contribute to why we're dealing with higher prices of food, like bird flu when it comes to eggs, or according to the failing New York Times, shortages in coffee have been linked to extreme weather conditions and spiking global demand. Those both have played a role in price increases of up to 3.5% for coffee, which is why at this point, doing stupid things is going to have a much more damaging effect on the price of food. Think of it like this. If you have a cold, you have a cold. Colds happen, right? But instead of taking medicine and resting, you go out looking for some doorknobs to lick. You're gonna get a lot sicker, a lot quicker. And that's basically what this administration's economic policy and plans are. And also, can't forget about this, they don't even care if the problem gets worse. According to Alabama.com, the man who single-handedly killed the United States Football League, if you don't believe me, watch the 30 for 30. He said inflation is no longer his number one issue. And then there's his tariffs.
Farmers, who already operate under thin margins, said that funding cuts to other programs like the USDA and a new trade war were concerning.
Now we're adding tariff wars where we're unsure what access to marketplace we're going to have. I think we're all just kind of going into this knowing that we're already going to have a year where we have really, really tight margins.
Dear America, you got punked. But hey, things can and have been done to protect consumers at the state level from price gouging. So let's go back to that FindLaw.com article. In 2020, the New York Attorney General penalized hand sanitizer sellers for price gouging. The company sold products for around $20 to $35 before the COVID pandemic, but then during the public health crisis, they charged customers around $80 to $130 for the same hand sanitizer. That amounted to a price difference of about 400% during an emergency, and that violated the state's price gouging statute. Even in Connecticut, there are some laws to provide consumers with relief from price gouging. Selling products, energy resources, or services during a declared state of emergency for more than the acceptable market price, which is determined by the state, is against the law, and penalties may be up to $99 or even up to $1,000 or up to 1 year in jail per offense. And Senate Democrats have proposed a bill, Senate Bill 3, which aims to reduce costs by enhancing the state's ability to fight instances of price gouging by targeting price gouging that drives up costs behind the scenes. So manufacturers, distributors, wholesalers, and suppliers who may artificially inflate prices to pad their bottom lines. And that's from the Capital Dispatch article. And listen, no plan or policy is perfect, but that doesn't mean that because it can't be perfect and we're not gonna get exactly what we want in the way that we want it, that we then go and look for a doorknob to lick. Because that's what this current administration is doing right now. And honestly, I just wanted cheap eggs.
Content used on the pod comes courtesy of MSNBC, CNBC, USA Today, and whoever sang that incredible edible egg jingle.
In case you missed it, public hearings are in full swing, providing people with a chance to provide feedback on legislation and lawmakers to give more context around why a bill is needed, such as this exchange with State Senator Bob Duff, a Democrat, and a Republican state representative on a bill to protect libraries from book bans.
These books are in the schools. I've seen multiple complaints. I've seen it myself.
You want to help children? Let's help children. Let's put parameters around them having phones. We want to help kids. Let's make sure that they can eat every day. Let's make sure that they have health care. That helps children.
During a hearing in the Housing Committee on the affordability and accessibility of housing, State Senator Heron Gaston commented on the need for equitable housing policy.
We need housing. And so to stand and say, we want to keep the character of our communities the same, is basically saying we don't want those people in our community. But I want you to know, as someone who is educated, I can read through that and I'm going to call you out.
In the Labor Committee, State Senator Julie Kushner stood up for striking employees.
But I don't want to be in a position where we're taking a position on one side or the other.
Well, I would just encourage you to bring that up when we get into our committee meeting, because I would love to debate you on that issue.
Amanda here. Also, did you hear Democrats in Connecticut announced $40 million in special education funding? Here's Senate President Martin Looney.
But first, I wanted to announce that we will be allocating $40 million next week to deal with a problem in the current fiscal year for special education costs under the excess cost grant. It will be distributed under that formula, and also we'll be using the tiered structure that we devised a few years ago to make sure that the funding goes to those communities with greatest need.
And State Senator Sujata Gadkar-Wilcox helped lead a committee which listened to the state's concerns. Here's some of what she found.
And I can't tell you how meaningful that was to actually be in the community, to listen to not only for the committee to hear from people, but for parents and teachers especially to say they felt heard. And what was really interesting is that we heard shared concerns and similar concerns across districts. So one of the things, of course, that we heard immediately was this immediate need for funding. And so I'm so thankful to our leadership that we're providing that funding for this fiscal year to address some of those budgetary concerns. But as a committee, we really want to think about special education as part of a continuum. You know, we can't separate it out from general education because the way we support special education also impacts general education. We need to think about early education because what we have been hearing is that people have in some cases been misidentified, and how do we have better early intervention strategies? We may have been able to avoid some of the costs that come from putting students in programs that actually don't serve their needs.
Jason here. Henry's out looking for eggs, but he told me to tell you how to provide testimony for a public hearing. Head to cga.ct.gov, find a committee, let's say education. Go to public hearings, click on agendas, find the meeting, then select register to speak, then fill out the form to register. Better writing than speaking? Back to the agenda page, click on Submit Written Testimony, and there you can either write it up or upload a document with your testimony. I'm pretty sure Henry found eggs and is just gatekeeping. Anyway, we'll see you next week.